Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. I want to welcome you to Tika's Gardens. I want to say Happy New Year to everyone, and I hope you guys had a wonderful holiday season. Today am going to jump right into this video. Today we're going to talk about what I want to do with my garden in 2025. So guys, before we get started, I just wanted to tell you that I got a new camera for Christmas. And yeah, I did a video that was supposed to come out on Tuesday because, as you know, I typically release my videos on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, and it was horrible. I mean, really bad. We were trying to figure out how to use this camera and record just, and do a good quality video just right out the gate, and it didn't work. It was really bad. So I did not have a video out on Tuesday, but we're here today. And I've spent the last few days trying to figure out how to use this camera. I am so excited to have it, and I'm thankful to him for getting this for me for Christmas. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. This is my Christmas present. And so my first video with it that officially is coming out, I get to spend inside of the house, out of the cold, in my office. But let's get back to the topic at hand. I just wanted to share that little story with you guys that I have a new camera and I'm excited. Yes. So I have so many ideas, but I have been picking out plants and things like that, kind of leaning towards what I'm going to do for this year. So we're gonna start from the beginning. We're gonna first take a look at what the garden looked like before I did any work. So I'm gonna insert a few pictures right here so you can see what the garden looked like. Okay, so as you could see, there was not much here when we moved in. Just a big, huge tree, a raised herb bed made from the wooden rails, and pretty much nothing else. So I made all of the beds along the edge of the foundation of the house, along the fence. I extended the area out where the tree was once we had it cut down and turned it into our vegetable garden. I extended that out to make it just a little bit bigger. And you're gonna hear Tika calling me. She wants to go outside. We just came from the backyard and she's wanting to go back out to play again. But anyway, I extended that out a little bit so I could make it big enough to have the 7 beds and the 2 side beds in it. So the vegetable garden is not a perfect square shape, but it is big enough to fit those size beds. And I took the flower beds around the edge of the vegetable gardens and connected them to the back fence beds that were empty, as you saw in the pictures. Just along that entire back fence, it was just dirt, just empty. So I bought a few extra moss stones, but pretty much the majority of all the stones and rock in the yard were already there. And once I made the beds, I didn't do them all at once. I did the ones along the part of the foundation first, and then I extended it, and I just started, feeling like I wanted more planting area. So I then extended it more to the fence. They just kept extending beds, basically, because I wanted more areas to plant. But what I would do when I would make a bed is I would lay down a cardboard or newspaper, top it with compost, and I left it for the season. and would come back a few months later to plant. Just let it sit and compost down and break down, and make sure all weeds and grass were killed before I worked it. And so that's what I did with all of the new beds. The bed along the back fence was already there. It just had absolutely nothing in it. But that's kind of the makeup of the backyard, making the beds and then deciding I wanted a walkway to kind of be able to walk along and view the beds, and then deciding to put beds in front of the walkway so I could make that back, the whole back part of the garden like a secret garden, leaving grass in the front. So when you come out of our back door and you walk through the fence, the very first thing you see are the beds right along the foundation of the house, along the kitchen window and our family room window. And what I have done there is, if you saw in one of my videos a few weeks ago, I separated out some of the birds of paradise from our front garden, and I brought it to our back garden, and I put it in the empty spot that's kind of right there in front of the drain, right behind the pots. So that is a bird of paradise, and I'll stick a picture in of what that specific bird of paradise looks like when it's in bloom. And next to that is an unknown gardenia. I got it from the clearance table for like $3 at one of my local garden centers. Next to that is an Indian hawthorn, then a loropetalum, and behind the loropetalum are two misliminobilias. So what I want to do for plantings in there, right now we have two Superbena pink cashmeres. I'm going to take one and move it over once the pentas is done. And so I'm going to be planting the Superbena pink cashmere, but I'm going to have to kind of keep it trimmed because that really gets out of control over there, and I don't want it smothering the shrubs and flowers behind it. But behind the Superbena pink cashmeres are going to be the shrubs, so they're going to kind of act as like edging along the front of the flower beds, and behind it will be the shrubs, and mixed in where the shrubs are, I'm going to have perennials. I already have some there, but you kind of can't see them because of the Superbena. But there is echinacea there, and there's a pink salvia there. I'm also going to be planting some pink yarrow and some pink angelonia. And so that front bed is basically going to be different shades of pink going along that front foundation. Now, once that section stops and you get to the area where I have that kind of curved section that sits like right in front of our fireplace wall there, you will see that I have I have a lime tree there, which is actually in a grower's pot in the ground. When I bought my Meyer lemon, there was a stick sitting in it that kept falling over, and I had actually planted it in the ground. I didn't even notice it, and I was like, this doesn't look like the rest of this tree. Is this like a dead part? So after a few days, I went ahead and pulled it out, and lo and behold, it was a whole separate little branch or stick, and it had a tag on it. It was a lime tree, and when I looked up that lime tree online, it said that it gets 20 feet tall. I had no intentions of having a lime tree, but since it was free, I kept it, and so I put it in the grower's pot and to try and control its size and root size so it doesn't get so big. And I put it directly in the ground in the grower's pot. And so that is what that little shrub is right there. And as you see, that shrub actually has now multiple branches just a few months later. So it's doing well. But around that, I'm going to be planting some little shrubs. The little shrubs that I'm trying to I didn't want to get boxwoods. I didn't want to deal with boxwoods here in this heat. Now, I'm sure they probably do well. I just wanted something different. So what I did was kind of looked around for some shrubs that won't grow too tall, and I found something that I like. And I've got my laptop right here so I can, because I'm not going to remember the names of everything that I chose. So you're going to see me looking at my laptop a little bit. But the one that I chose is called Luxus Compact Japanese Holly. It grows 2 feet tall and wide. So I'm going to put those along the outer edge of that curve to make a little evergreen hedge, and it will kind of also separate it from that first bed that, you know, right as soon as you come into the yard, that's going to have the superbenas and everything. So now it's going to be like its own little separate section, and the lime tree is going to be right in the middle of it. And that's what I want to do for that section. And then as you move over, you see that there are 2 Miss Lemon Abelias right here in the little narrow bed right in front of the second window for our family room. And that's going to pretty much stay as it is. You know, once the Miss Lemon Abelias, you know, grow bigger and, you know, start touching, it will pretty much fill in that area. But for now, until then, I think I'm going to do a candy tuft, and the one that I am going to choose, let me pull that up so I can tell you the name. It is Mermaid. It's like a mermaid lilac candy tuft. So it's going to be kind of in the pinkish family, because basically anything planted along that first bed that you see coming into the house, I want everything there to be in different shades of pink. I know that the Indian hawthorn and the Miss Lemon Abelias, the gardenias, those are all white shrubs, and I know the bird of paradise is a different color, but for everything else I want it to have shades of pink. So that's what I'm going to do for that initial section when you first come into the yard along the foundation. Now, as I walk into the bedroom garden, if you've been following me, you'll probably notice a theme there. Everything that I have planted new has been red. So I've got the red hibiscus, I've got the red knockout roses, I have the red miniature roses along the edge of the curved bed where the bird bath is. So that garden is not just a bedroom garden, it is also going to be the red garden this year. And what I want to do back there is I need to get my last knockout rose to plant in that corner along the foundation where I have the Parsonii juniper and the other knockout rose. As you go around the curve, I have the ligustrum, wax leaf, curved leaf ligustrum with 2 fizzy nizzy spireas in front of it and some liriope grasses that go along the edge. And then next to that are the columnar ligustrums with the red hibiscus in between. Well, the empty spaces that are kind of in front of the column ligustrums, those are going to have red pentas. And the one in particular that I am looking at is called, let me take a look at that. It is called, yeah, it's just saying that it's red. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but I want like a cool red tone, not the really hot, fiery red. So I'm going to do pentas there. We have the red roses going around in the red hibiscus. The circle bed is going to be where I switch out and do different things, you know, throughout the year and seasons. In that bed for this season, I want to put in the Superbena Royal Romance red. So I'm going to have that along the edge of the circle bed. So it will be red Superbena. And you'll notice that I have some daylilies there. Those daylilies that are there and along the edge in front of the column ligustrums are all orange. I'm going to leave them there. There's a couple of yellow blooming shrubs back there. I'm going to leave that there. But everything else new that I'm putting in there, it's going to be red for this season. So the bedroom garden is going to be a red garden this season. So as you come into the yard, imagine it. There's going to be the pink, garden. As you're walking along, you'll see, a sea of pink flowers mixed in with shrubs and everything. And then as you walk into the bedroom garden, it's going to be a mixture of red flowers. Now, when you come out of the bedroom garden, I transplanted that crepe myrtle in the spot where I used to have the lantanas, which you saw in a previous video. That crepe myrtle is going to fill in that space completely once it matures. But until then, what I want to do is on the outer part of the bed, to kind of match what's going on along the foundation, I'm going to put those compact hollies there. So I'm going to flank the, I'm pulling that back up. I'm going to flank the crepe myrtle with those Luxus compact Japanese hollies on the outer part. On the inner part where the walkway is, I'm going to plant Sedum Angelina. I've used that before and it has done really well in the backyard. If you know what lemon coral sedum looks like, it looks similar to that. But they sell a lot of it here and it's really done well for me. So I want to do that as like an edging along the front there as you're walking along the walkway, with the two Luxus compact Japanese hollies in the back and the crepe myrtle in the center. And then there are a couple of, again, lilies, which were already there, in orange. And to kind of close off that front section with the bedroom garden, I'm going to fill in that empty gap with jubilation gardenias. Now, I already have two sitting next to the Eugenia balls that mark the entrance to the bedroom garden. So I want to close out that empty space with two more jubilation gardenias, so that back garden is going to be completely closed off once everything matures, and it's going to make you want to walk back there to see what's going on. So as we continue down the walkway along the vegetable garden fence, the little planters that are there, I'm going to put strawberries in them because I've grown strawberries the last few years in the ground, and I've only been able to bring in a couple here and there because they get eaten before I could get to them. So I'm going to get them off the ground and put them in those pots that are on the fence. But below that, in those sections, I will probably do a mixture of some herbs and, just plants, mostly marigolds, because I tend to use a lot of marigolds in my vegetable garden and around it since they're a natural pesticide. So along that front edge will be different herbs with marigolds mixed in. Now, as we come around the curve, there's an Eleanor Tabor hawthorn on the left, which smells good. Right there along with my white iceberg standard roses, my rose trees. And you'll notice that there's an empty space in front of the white fence for the vegetable garden. That empty space is there because that part stays very wet. So I need to, because there's a sprinkler head there. There's actually two sprinkler heads there. One on the outside of that fence and one on the inside. The inside one waters the vegetable garden. This outside one waters the grass and everything. And we need to work on the one that's on the outside because the pressure is so high, it just kind of mows down my plants. So we need to fix that before I turn that zone back on. But because there are two sprinkler heads there, that soil tends to stay wet. So I have to find something that likes wet soil. We know hibiscus like wet soil. The Fizzy Mizzy spireas do. I don't know if I want to repeat those there or if I want to find something else. So I'm working on what I want to do for that little small section that flanks that sprinkler head that stays wet. But once you get past that, you'll see we approach the part of the backyard where the back fence is and that long bed is there. That little triangular section in front of the sunshine ligustrum is a collection of our kitchen herbs. I used to have them planted in that long bed in front of the garage, but I find that they do better. I kind of tested them out this year in that part of the yard, and they really seem to like it much better over there. Plus they're, right near where they get a nice mist from the sprinkler that's behind it. So I think I'm going to continue to use that area as the herb garden. That we literally do use our herbs when we cook. So we're not a family that has we use like a large herb collection. The things I grow every year are oregano, basil, thyme, sage, cilantro, and dill. And I think that's pretty much all we use. So I'm going to continue to use that area as our herb garden with flowers mixed in as well. And then as we go along the rest of that bed, for the most part, that bed is completely planted. Okay, so for that curved area, I am going to do vinca. Vinca is an annual that loves the heat and does well here in Texas. And you'll see it in a lot of people's gardens. I'm going to do vinca along that edge there. I'm going to do pink vinca, probably a combination of pink and white. And as you walk along the path a little bit more, it takes you right before you get into the back courtyard garden, which is brand new as well. But before entering, there is a curved bed to the left. I'm going to do a collection of vinca along that curved edge, and behind it are lilies, and then there's a plumbago, and then there's the purple fountain grass behind it. So that's, for the most part, that whole area along the walkway and all the foundation beds and everything like that. The back courtyard, I have been slowly sticking things in there. Just recently I planted, earlier in the fall, I should say, I planted 2 sunshine ligustrums. They're still small. And then I added some lantana, and I took a lot of this, outside of purchasing the sunshine ligustrum, everything that's back there, for the most part, are things that I took from other parts of the yard and just divided. So there are lilies back there. There's grasses, your solid green, like liriope style grasses, your variegated. There's, what else do I have? I have the grasses. I have the sunshine ligustrums. I have the lantana. If you remember, they trenched through my yard to lay the fiber optic cables. I had to clean up, and I almost lost one of my lantana, but it's coming back. I just stuck it in a spot to, hope that, I don't lose it. But it did make it, so thank goodness. So there's not too much else that I have to do with that bed. There are a couple more evergreens that I'm going to get along the back where I have the herb section and all that. I have 3 Blue Point junipers that are back there that will eventually provide privacy. And I'm thinking of duplicating that in the empty spaces in between the sunshine ligustrum and the back not bedroom garden, but courtyard garden. So I'm thinking of duplicating that so it kind of has that same pattern along the whole back of the fence. I'm not sure yet, but that's what I'm leaning towards. And then on the very back part of the courtyard garden, that very small oval bed, was basically just a dumping ground for dirt in mulch. Whenever I would plant something and I had excess dirt, I would just dump it there. It eventually, since I kept dumping stuff there, I decided, oh, this could be a flower bed. So I got some rock, because there was plenty of it that was back there in the yard, and I made myself a little curved bed. So I now have a planting area there, and I'm going to put a shrub there. And I'm thinking about a tea olive. It gets big, so I'm still working on that idea. I'm not quite sure yet, but I know I do want something that will grow back there that has a scent. But the further back you get in that courtyard garden, the more shade you get. So I have to keep that in mind. The beds that are back there in the courtyard garden that are along the garage back wall, I'm going to put on the very, very back part, I'm going to put some shrubs that will be kind of flanking that back garage door. And in the front, I think I'm going to make those beds like annual beds, so I can have a pop of color. Right now, the one towards the back is has grasses in it and hostas, but hostas don't really typically grow very big in my yard. They stay small and they don't really do anything. So I'm gonna pull them up. Maybe I'll leave those grasses there, but I will, I think, make those beds annual beds so that there can be a big pop of color back there on that side, with more evergreens and perennials on the other side, and a nice shrub that you look directly at as you're approaching the courtyard garden that's going to be right in front of you. And in the bedroom garden and in the courtyard garden, I have to decide what I'm going to do for stoneware. In that center circle bed, I thought about doing a fountain and then having flowers along the outer edge. In the bedroom garden, in the circle area, I'm going to do an urn style planter. I'll probably pick something from Unique Stone. I'll stick something in here and show you what my ideas are for those circle beds. And the bed that's directly in front of our bedroom window with the small roses around it that has the bird bath in it right now, I'm gonna get a stone bird bath. But, you know, we'll talk more about the stoneware, so to speak, that I want to put in the yard in another video. Today, I just kind of wanted to give you an idea of what I want to do for 2025 in the backyard. And that is most of the backyard. There's one section left, though. When you come out of the courtyard and you make a right, that takes you back towards the house. And along the wall of the garage is a long empty bed right now, which used to be an herb bed, which, as I stated before, I've moved the herbs. So what I think I want to do there is do some plantings for like a cut flower garden, but I don't want it to just be rows of just flowers with no design. I'm going to probably stick a couple of short evergreens in there, some roses, in addition to some flowers that I would want to cut throughout the season, so that I can bring in fresh flowers in the house. Because I like to buy cut flowers, so I might as well grow some, or at least give it a try. If it doesn't work, I can make them into some beautiful beds. But I'm gonna figure out how to design that, and we can talk more about that in another video. But what I am going to do for sure is on that garage wall, I'm going to take down those trellises. They have faux flower trellis made of bamboo. I'm going to take those down because they've rotted and they're breaking. I'm going to buy 3 metal trellises that will hang up there. And I'm thinking that I might put either some climbing roses or honeysuckle or clematis some type of climbing plant there. And that reminds me, I almost forgot. You know, when you're walking into that courtyard garden, I have that tall white arbor and the fencing that's flanking off of it. I forgot to mention that I have planted some growing, you know, vines there. On one side, I have a clematis that will be growing up and over, and on the other side is a honeysuckle. It's actually a honeysuckle I've had for a couple of years in the yard that I transplanted there. I have two honeysuckles, one that's in the back vegetable garden and that one I planted there. So basically one side will be honeysuckle, the other side will be clematis covering that, you know, which I hope is going to be beautiful once the weather gets warm. We'll see how that comes out. The honeysuckle grew well this past season. I trimmed it down so that I could transplant it. And the clematis is fairly new. I planted it back in November. So we'll see how that does. But I do have that those climbing vines there. So I will figure out what I want to do. If I kind of want to duplicate one of those vines, or if I want to do, like I said, something totally different, like a climbing rose. I don't know. But that is my idea of what I want to do for the back garden. I have some ideas for the side yard and the front garden, which I will share with you in a part 2 of this series. So we'll get to see what my full plan is over a couple of videos. And in a part 3, I'm going to talk to you about my plans for the vegetable garden, because I want to get raised beds and things like that. So I'm going to talk to you about what I want to do back there in a part 3. But for today, that's it. That was a lot. So I am so excited and looking forward to 2025, and I hope what I envision in my head, I'm able to carry it out in real life and it comes to fruition. So, and I hope that it turns out to be so beautiful. If you can't tell, I really, really love gardening and I really love my backyard. So we'll see how 2025 turns out for my backyard. But that's it for today, guys. I will see you in the next video. I want to thank you for joining me today here inside in my office instead of outside in the garden. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.